year on Currents News, we witnessed the ships of the U.S. Navy arriving in New York for Fleet Week. It's a tribute to America's war heroes on Memorial Day. Joining us now is the Department Commander of the Catholic War Veterans Organization, Marvin Jeffcoat, to tell us about Catholics who have served the country in extraordinary ways. Let's start with America's only Catholic president, John F. Kennedy. Before entering politics, he distinguished himself during World War II on board the Navy boat PT-109. Tell us about his heroism.
Correct. So John F. Kennedy was the commander of PT-109, and that vessel was cut in half by a Japanese destroyer, which he lost some of his crew, and the survivors were stranded on an island for several weeks. So I think it was his strong leadership in Catholic faith that kept them alive. I mean, they were low on rations, they had to avoid the Japanese, and they had to endure the weather, and they didn't know when they were going to be rescued. And he was able to see them through that hardship.
You said his Catholic faith helped keep him alive. I mean, how did that help?
Well, when you're in a situation such as combat or imminent peril, I think it's your faith and conviction in God, knowing that you're going to be rescued and see your own sort of resurrection. Whichever way it works out, you know that the healing hand of God is going to be with you, and that helps you to calm others so they look toward your leadership and you're able to achieve your goal.
Now, most New Yorkers have heard of the Kosciuszko Bridge. It's named in honor of Andrzej Kosciuszko, a Catholic who fought for the colonies during the American Revolution. He was a colonel in the Continental Army. What did he accomplish?
Correct. So Colonel Kosciuszko was commissioned as a colonel and ultimately a brigadier general, and he was an engineer by training. So he established fortifications such as West Point. And one unique thing about him is he was close friends with Jefferson, and he shared the Jeffersonian philosophy of freedom. So in his will, he left an inheritance so that slaves could be freed and educated. So that's one of the distinctions about him. But he's our first, really, if you think about it, he's the first Catholic war veteran in the United States, of distinction anyways.
Well, that's incredible. Another Catholic hero, New York-born Father Vincent Capodanno. He sacrificed his life ministering to Marines in Vietnam. Can you tell us more about his service to our country?
Correct. Father Capodanno was ordained a priest in 1958, and he requested Cardinal Spellman to send him to Vietnam so that he could minister to the Marine Corps. So he was commissioned a chaplain in the Navy, and he served he didn't just serve his Marines, he served among them. He lived with them, he slept with them, he ate with them. He was responsible for establishing libraries in the villages. And unfortunately, one night he was in a firefight and he saw a medic who had been gravely injured. And Father Capodanno ran to that medic and gave him first aid as well as spiritual aid. And unfortunately, the enemy, the Viet Cong, did not recognize that he was a priest, and they killed him. Ultimately, he was posthumously awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor for his service.
It sounds like faith was so important to him, he was willing to sacrifice his life for it. Can you tell me more about that?
It was. He, like I said, he lived among his Marines. He was a totally faithful person, and it was important for him to be right there with them and experience everything they experienced, to include the dangers and perils of combat.
Now, how can Catholics in the Brooklyn Diocese best honor these and other wartime heroes?
The biggest way they can honor us is to join our organization if they're eligible, but get the word out that we're here and our arms are open, and we look forward to bringing in membership of honorably discharged U.S. veterans to be Catholic war veterans, not necessarily combat veterans. A lot of us are, but you don't have to be. And also, we're going to hold several prayer breakfasts throughout the city from local parishes and posts, and then we'll go and render honors at our Memorial Day ceremonies.
Marvin, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for interviewing me.